Netflix's Uglies ended with a rather ambiguous scene, so what does it mean? The movie, based on the popular YA sci-fi novel by Scott Westerfeld, follows Tally Youngblood, a teenager living in a dystopian future where everyone is required to get an operation when they turn 16. After they are beautiful from head to toe, they are moved to a section of the city called New Pretty Town, a party center for only pretties. However, the Uglies, those 15 and under, must remain in Uglyville across the river, dreaming of the day they will finally be beautiful. Tally's best friend Paris turned 16 before her in Uglies, so she was forced to wait the summer before she could finally get the operation and join him. During this period, Tally met Shay, a fellow Ugly celebrating the same birthday. However, just before they were both set to go under the knife, Shay ran away to a wild community called the Smoke, populated entirely by Uglies escaping the operation. Tally is forced to follow her friend by the city leader, Dr. Cable, with a pendant she would set off once she had found a weapon held by someone named David. Of course, nothing turned out as Tally had expected. Why Tally gets the pretty operation and what that last shot of her scar means. Tally's operation changed her mind, or did it? At the end of Uglies, after Dr. Cable had used Tally's pendant to track her and sack the Smoke, Tally and David set out for the city to free their friends. Unfortunately, they got there too late to save everyone. Shay had already been turned into a pretty by the time Tally and David arrived and set the Smokies free. Of course, David's mother, Maddie, had grabbed the cure for the pretty lesions in the city so they could return Shay's mind to how it had been. However, she wouldn't consent, and Maddie refused to experiment with an untested drug on an unwilling subject. Tally had a solution to this dilemma, however. She volunteered to become pretty herself, surrendering herself to Dr. Cable to undergo the operation. The final scene of Uglies saw Tally walking through her new, beautiful apartment, with much longer hair and a perfectly symmetrical, glowing face. She seemed content in her environment, enthralled by the lovely view of New Pretty Town from the window and cheerfully telling her room's interface that she felt great. However, the final shot is of Tally's hand, which still has the scar she had dedicated to her friendship with Paris. Earlier in the movie, Paris had his scar removed after becoming pretty, even though he had genuinely promised his friend that he would keep it forever. This was Tally's first clue that pretties weren't what they seemed, that the operation didn't just make their bodies beautiful but gave them pretty little minds as well. The fact that Tally still had her scar even after becoming pretty meant that she hadn't entirely lost her ugly self. She was still Tally, and she was ready for David to bring the cure to New Pretty Town. How the cure works in Uglies and David's plan explained. Tally being pretty is only the first step. David and Maddie in Uglies. The cure in Uglies was developed by David's mother, Maddie, who had been one of the surgeons in Tally's city responsible for performing the cosmetic portion of the operation. While researching ways to make the operation safer, Maddie and her husband, AZ, discovered the lesions, and the knowledge that the city was exercising total control over the minds of its citizens inspired them to run away and find the Smoke. Over the decades, they developed half of the cure, but the other half was only obtained when the Smokies escaped the city.